Intuition is a very interesting subject, and it comes up a lot for me in my everyday life and my working life, both when I'm dealing with clients regarding their own intuition. People talk to me a lot about the fact that they feel intuitive and they feel they have a strong intuitive sense, but when it comes to it in practice, it's really hard to use it. So before we start on that, let's just discuss, what is intuition? Intuition is a communication between us and the energetic world. So we are all linked in to the energetic world naturally. We don't have to do anything for that to be a thing. It is a thing already. And that is how you navigate around. So I think it's a fascinating thing that we're not able to use it better because it's just running on autopilot. That's the thing. And these little intuitive messages that sort of leap up that we want more of, they are hard to spot. Why are they so hard to spot? Because we're walking around with a huge amount of static background noise and chatter going on in our lives and in our heads, and so it makes it really hard to hear that little voice that is often fairly quiet. Now, what also happens is when we're not tuned into our lives, because being tuned into our lives is actually important if we're going to be tuned in to the energetic realm to the degree that we're going to be getting some communication. When we're not tuned into our lives in a conscious way, we're just sort of walking around on autopilot. So we're not really listening. So if we're going to get a message, it's going to have to come and smack us over the head. And of course it doesn't very often. What we can do is we can start to create some space, and creating space is important. So let's look at how can we hear that voice? How can we do it? Now, what gets in the way primarily is that it's very hard to tell the difference between intuition and fear. Fear has a very distinct quality to it. Fear nags. It doesn't go away. Fear is just there. Now, we all have fear as a constant companion. It just is around us. It's part of us. It's part of the package of being human. We can't get rid of it. Fear is there for a reason. It's there to protect us. It's not the same as intuition. It hangs around in the background just as a little nagging feeling or a nagging voice. That's not intuition. Intuition is different. Intuition is a thought that doesn't belong all of a sudden. It's a moment of knowing. It's not a moment of doubt. And so that knowing suddenly feels really clear, really briefly. Now, the fact that it's brief is part of the problem, because it flashes up like a pop-up message and then can disappear again, to the point where we're now looking for evidence of what was that? Oh, that was weird. I don't know why that happened. And we can't see any evidence to back it up often. So fear then takes over and goes, yeah, you don't want to pay any attention to that. I'm leading the way here, girl. Just get on board. So we tend to disregard whatever it was that popped up because it doesn't make sense. And that's the thing. Fear makes sense. There's a rhetoric, there's a narrative line involved in the conversation. Fear talks to you. Intuition doesn't. It's not a conversation. You may hear a voice, you may do. It's not that common. It might just be a thing that you sort of goes, oh, what was that? It's like a feeling in your body. Or it might just be that you have a thought out of the blue that just is brightly lit for a split second and then goes away again. Or it might be a picture maybe that just pops into your head and then goes away again. It's usually a thought that doesn't belong. So how do we access our intuition and unlock its potential? We have to create a connection space. So what I want you to imagine is, I want you to imagine that you are connected all the time. I mean, you are, but it's sort of running along in the background. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to boost the signal. And how we do that is we turn down the background noise. We turn down competing information. We can do that in different ways. We can do that by meditation, which is tricky, and a lot of people have a lot of difficulty with meditation. Now, here's the thing that you should know about meditation. You can't turn your thoughts off. It's a mistake. It's what trips people up when they start meditating, trips them up, and just then they give up, because I can never turn my thoughts off. Well, you can't turn your thoughts off. It's very difficult to turn your thoughts off. But what you can do is you can change your relationship to your thoughts. And when you start changing your relationship to your thoughts, you'll find that your thoughts are not as overwhelming as they are when you're trying to make them go away, because they kind of fight back. Somebody once said to me that it's a bit like an untamed puppy just running around going crazy. You have to try and get it to do as you say. So you turn yourself into the boss of your thoughts. When you do that, what you can do is you can just start becoming aware of them. So if you sit down to be in a meditation, you can start to notice some space. Notice your thoughts, observe them, just step back from them, creating some separation from you and this maelstrom of racket that's probably going on inside your head about everything, all at once, all the time. Creating some space actually strengthens the signal, because it gives some room for it to work. It also encourages the energetic world, or the active participants in the energetic world that you're speaking to, your team, your energetic team. It encourages them to lean in more, because if they're talking to you and there's just a whole load of background noise and you're just never listening, well, they're probably not gonna be as keen to keep pushing the agenda unless it's really, 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 really important. What you want to do is to make it into the everyday. You want to make it into an ongoing relationship that builds in its frequency and its reliability. So opening a space of quiet allows for that process to actually gain some traction, and becoming familiar, becoming comfortable with some space, with some silence, with some time when you're able to step back from your thoughts a little bit on an ongoing basis, will help those messages become clearer and will help your relationship to the energetic world become a better frequency. How does tarot help us with intuition? Well, intuition is all about feeling, not about thinking. It's about feeling. It's when we just feel something is true. We feel it, right? And that's how we do manifestation. That's how we do any energy work. We do it from the engine of feeling. So when we're overthinking and when we're in our heads, we're in active emotion. Active emotion is a very difficult thing to hear through. When you're in active emotion, you're just not open to anything else. So the idea is that you get underneath active emotion into feeling. So how do I really feel about something? It's a lot quieter than active emotion. Try it. Just try and figure out the difference. There is a really, really powerful difference. You can have an active emotion of anger, but can have a feeling of fear. or sadness. Let's step back and try and change our connection, change our relationship with feeling and emotion. So our intuition comes from feeling, and tarot, when we read it at our best, is going to be intuitively connected in through feeling. We feel the cards. Learning card meanings is an interesting endeavor and often very frustrating. We can learn them on an academic level. We can learn them with our minds, but we don't feel them. The way we learn to feel the cards is we feel what they're trying to say to us. We feel the help. What do I mean by the help? Every single tarot card wants to help. Every single tarot card is a message from spirit. That's how I see it. That's how I read. Every single tarot card is a message from spirit. It is a message of help. It is a message of encouragement. And so when you lean into what the message of help is, you start to feel it. As we look at the stories that run through tarot, we can look at the stories as we can lean into our own personal versions of the stories. We understand them by the purpose they fulfill in the story. And when we see the purpose they fulfill, we can see the help that is being offered as part of the story, because it's part of a flow, it's part of a process. And each card is telling us how to move forward in the story. That's the help that's being offered in every single card. And when we can latch into the help that's being offered, we then start to feel the card more. And when we feel the card more, we also feel our client more. Even if you can't see your client, even if your client's not in front of you, you can still feel them through the card. And that is what opens up the space for the energetic world to talk to you. And it is amazing when it starts to happen. Now look, it's not quick. It's not immediate. What will happen is you'll get the odd little bit that just comes through. It's like, oh, wow, that's so cool that happened. And then you might get crickets for a little while, and then you might get another one. And then after a while, they start to get more and more. And then it starts to become normal. It just starts to be the way it works. And that's great because you've got it flowing. And you'll find that it starts to work in your everyday life as well as a result. So working with tarot can be a really good mechanism for building our intuitive practice, building our connection with spirit, which has the added benefit of reflecting into the rest of our lives as well. So I hope that's been interesting and useful. So please do like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy my videos. I would love to hear from you. Tell me about your experiences with intuition. Tell me how you feel and what's happened to you and what your struggles are as well. And I'll see if I can help. In the meantime, I'm always here for a reading if you need one, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.